Okay, so I think we're live. Hi everyone, and a very good afternoon, and welcome on board. So this LinkedIn Live session has been brought to you by the Center for Responsible Business as part of its 7th annual flagship Sustainable Business Conference, which is the India in Sustainability Standards 2020. This year, we will be doing the conference virtually from October 28th to the 30th in partnership with the Friedrich Naumann Foundation. Both the foundation and the Center for Responsible Business are working towards the common agenda of responsible business. And to this effect, today we have an interesting session wherein we will deliberate on how businesses, especially MSMEs, are integrating responsible business practices in their functioning, and what kind of approaches or models are these organizations adopting in a post-COVID world. And to give us a very hands-on and on-ground experience of an MSME, we have Ms. Simona Jatranova. She is Vice Director in Talk India Private Limited and comes with extensive knowledge and experience of the potential of the Indian market. We also have Mr. Subodh Agarwal. He has been associated with the FNF for close to 20 years now. He has been looking after one of the economic initiatives of bringing entrepreneurs in order to discuss solutions to restart economies after COVID-19. This year's theme for the conference is Sustainability, a key to business resilience in an uncertain world. The theme was chosen to reflect the reality of how this pandemic has affected the already vulnerable and how all stakeholders need to come together to build back better. At the Center for Responsible Business, we believe every stakeholder is vital in this rebuilding process, and only through collective efforts will we be able to achieve a sustainable, inclusive, and resilient recovery. With that, I now invite Subodh and Simona to help us co-create such pathways and carry forward this discussion. Subodh, over to you. Subodh, I think you need to unmute yourself. You're not audible.
Thank you, Shreya. Thank you for the kind introductions. And thank you so much for informing us about the forthcoming initiative of Center for Responsible Business, that is the ISS 2020. And I would also like to join you in welcoming Simona. Simona, who's been in India for a number of years now. If I'm not mistaken, she's in India for 8 years and has been looking after the Indian business environment, watching it very closely, and is also advising international companies about the Indian business environment, Indian business behavior, and also a number of issues associated with how companies can do business in India and how companies do business in India. So welcome, Simona. Welcome from my side too. And I would like to start off our conversation with asking you about your personal experiences of being here in India and how you feel that companies operate. In particular, Simona, my question is that a lot of MNCs, and I believe you're associated with one of the MNCs in India right now, when they come into India or when they go to any other host country, they bring with themselves a lot of professionalism. They bring in their own work culture, they introduce new concepts, they introduce best practices, and they also introduce business ethics. Now, what has been your experience of introducing business ethics in India, and do you think your company has been following such responsible conduct in doing business in India? And are you also looking at immediate business associates, especially those in the supply chain, working with you? Simona, please.
Hi, thank you, Subodh, for the nice introduction. Very long question. So we have come to India in 2015 as a German company, And recently we have changed to being a Dutch company. So we are very much international, and I have to say, in the sense of what we have brought and how are the suppliers, the customers reacting on our processes, technology, mentality. Initially, it's very difficult for both sides, because we are coming here with idea, okay, we will change something, we want to provide the same standard as we are providing in Europe, irrespective that we are in India, which ultimately doesn't work, because it's impossible to hire people and tell them to do the same work what we do in Germany or Netherlands. But we have made it happen in a way that we have spoken to our suppliers, we have spoken to our customers, especially in terms of, what are our processes, what our technology, in terms of human rights, what do we like them to do, what do we like them not to do, in terms of also corruption. And we have our code of conduct, which we give to each supplier and to each customer. And we do also personal visits to see how do they work, what do production looks like, do they hire children or not, do they engage in some particular activity which we would not like to comply with. So we do that, and the same we do also with our employees. We train them. We make them sign our code of conduct and to understand what is it, how do we work, and what do we expect in terms of ethics, which also belongs to anti-corruption, right? So we do also explain what gifts are actually reasonable to accept from any kind of customer or supplier as a gift, and what is not acceptable, what can we not do in terms to prohibit corruption, and to explain what is important for us as a company. For us as a company, is also important that there is no discrimination, right? No one should feel discriminated at working place or be afraid to go to office. We also try to explain that it's very important to speak aloud, to speak in case there is any issue which they face and they feel it's not okay. Please speak and explain what is happening, that we can take it as an issue and matter and solve it. Which is a little bit different to Indian mentality, because I remember in 2015 when we were hiring our first employees, they used to work for Indian companies or completely different structure companies, and now here we are, and we want something from them to comply, to have proofs, to explain why is it so, to come up with solution. And not just give the responsibility or push the responsibility towards us, to the management. So that I would say this all is related all together. So it's kind of a learning process to explain them what we want and to see how they understand how we explain it. I'm actually not sure I answered your question, Subodh. Maybe I got lost a little bit in the way of excitement of going how we have started our company here.
No, this is perfectly fine. I mean, if you want to add on certain points, please do, because I'll have some follow-up questions to what you've just said.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can have follow-up questions. I think I will add it to it.
Yes, yes. You know, what you said is very interesting, because even from my side, I'll be very honest with you. I'm an Indian, but I've never worked for an Indian organization. I do have experience not from the corporate sector, but of working with a non-profit sector, which is the non-governmental organizations, and working mostly in the policy framework. However, when you say that things have been different for your employees when they're working with you, that means there is a certain difference between how Indian businesses operate and how probably international businesses think. In that sense,
yes.
And you're the right person to ask this question, especially when we're talking about responsible business, which also includes the employees and other social fabric of the organization, of the corporate house in particular. What do you see are the differences, paramount differences of an international company vis-a-vis Indian company, and what can Indian companies then learn from international companies in following a responsible business conduct?
I would say the international company is not the best. I think there is also a lot of to learn for us from an Indian company in terms of different experiences or maybe how they handle local issues. But what they can learn from us is we do have processes and we do have certain ways of doing business, and we try to follow it, and no matter what. And I think that's what makes us successful, because our employees by now, they know, okay, this is our process, we have to follow this. There is no jugaad, there is no way going around and try to skip the step to just make it faster. We are very particular about how we do it, because we try to explain if we have the process right. We also know how fast we can manage it, and we can give correct answer to our customer when we can deliver. You know, if all goes together, that you don't follow things, you get lost in chaos, and then you wonder what went wrong, how come we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve. So we do have our monthly KPIs also, where do we see how each department has progressed, and we also try to improve our processes in case we see there is some gap and we could change it. So for us, the process and to know how to follow is very important. And I think when I visit the Indian companies, or when the employees started to work with us, they didn't really understand that they have to follow something. They thought, okay, I do it as it goes. I go with the flow, and I will see how it happens. I have here this many parts to finish. It doesn't matter how I finish. It just matters that I finish. And for us, it matters that also how we finish, right? We want to know, we want to assure the standard and the quality standard that we are offering.
Great, great. Simone, when you're talking about the processes, the corporate processes, and competing in a very highly competitive market like India, or even when you're exporting, it's a competitive world. Uh, do you think that you incur certain extra costs because you take good care of your employees, because you which are good practices, business practices, which probably certain MSMEs may not be following in terms of being responsible towards other stakeholders of the society when conducting business. So how do you balance it out, that even though you have to remain competitive in a very highly competitive environment, how do you balance it out with the cost of a corporate, like taking care of your employees, giving them their due share, following a minimum wage packet, uh, maybe,
We
other
actually,
responsible
yes,
conduct.
yes, yeah. It is expensive as a company to make employees happy. And it's also not easy task, because employee is never happy. Let's put it this way. So, but we do follow certain policies, and we don't give the minimum wage. We give always a little bit more, which is the higher standard. And we also expect the employee to work for that, to give us results. We do also offer certain health insurance packages for the family and for the employee, to make sure that they are fine. We obviously do have to train them also on a regular basis in terms of teamwork, in terms of, we do also have training for sexual harassment, for instance, that they understand what sexual harassment means, because before that they didn't even know that something like this can happen in company, right? So we do have regular meetings or trainings about, to even explain what does it mean corruption, what does it mean sexual harassment, how it can happen, and that all belongs actually into our code of conduct. And we do have certain posts maybe in our company which we don't have in Europe, because in India is necessary, first of all, to comply with all this. And we try to be reasonable in providing all this to our employees, but of course, yes, we have to pay for it. So we have to have also a certain revenue to do so. But we as a company, or our policy, for us are employees very important, and that belongs also to teamwork and team building activities and training. So I would say in our current company, this is very important, to keep the employees safe and healthy. and to also explain them how they should go about it, and not just, okay, the company pays for everything, we can do whatever we want. So there is action and reaction, right? So we try to explain that, we try to do our best and focus on the employees' best, but it's not always possible. It's very difficult task for every company to make the employees happy, to keep them motivated.
But I mean, this is a very difficult aspect that we've touched upon, keeping employees happy. And as you said, employees are never happy. That's a debate which we can have on another day, because it entails a lot of deep-rooted discussions. However, at this point, my objective of understanding today from your side is that you also need to retain employees. And to retain employees and good employees, you need to, a corporate needs to operate in a manner whereby it takes care of a lot of things, and not just, has a one objective of making profits. Earlier days, when I was a student, for example, I used to study that, the prime objective of a business is to make profits. Yeah. In those days, and I'm talking about 30 years earlier, even in Germany where I was studying, they used to say that corporates need not bother too much about employees or about social environments and about other things. What is your personal opinion about how a business should conduct itself vis-a-vis employees that you've said, vis-a-vis the society in which the company is operating, vis-a-vis the stakeholders, that is the community, that is the regional locality where you are based? All these things have an impact on the corporation itself. So it's a give and take. So what is your personal opinion on how corporates should behave in a holistic way in order to operate and become successful business entities?
See, I would say, especially in India, living here since 2012, the mentality of people would have to change. Not only with corporates, but also with the employees itself. So I do not believe that profit should be the main point for corporates. Obviously, it's very important, but you cannot achieve profit without having employees or without having a team which works for you and which is motivated. That's where the corporates forget that if you don't keep your employees happy, and not happy, but motivated and financially reasonably secured, then they will not be with you for a long time. And obviously you want to have employees which stay with you for years, because the cost of training of new employee is also another extra cost to the company. So you want to keep same employees for maybe years to create a loyalty, right, between the company and the employee, which is a task, because it's really difficult. As I said, the mentality would have to change. There are several examples of how company can do maximum for employee to keep them motivated, but the employee sometimes, they take things for granted, because they believe, okay, the company will pay anyway, or they will do this anyway, so why would I not do something bad or something wrong? Why would I not just leave them or go somewhere else where I can get a higher hike? So it would have to change, and that will take time. I think especially in India. But as I said, our company is more focusing on the employees and then, of course, profit, because we believe that if we can somehow change the environment in India, we are also very much focusing on reducing the environmental pollution. For instance, what we do in our company. So with all our activities, we do also calculate our monthly pollution and CO2 emission to see how can we reduce it. We also try to explain this to our employees, how important is it in India, especially in India, to save the nature. And that we try also to create or develop the loyalty between the company and the employees, which is there. We are trying our best, but Of course, it could always be better. It is not an easy task which happens from one day to another. It is a matter of maybe months or years to actually bring the employees to understand that company gives you security, but you have to also give something back. It's give and take. It's not only one way, right? So I believe if the companies, the corporates actually try to change their way of approach those employees and handle them differently, maybe the mentality on the side of the employee will also change. But again, it is this long process that has to happen in India, and maybe it will happen at some point. Yeah.
Okay, let me shift our focus to a third party entity here. And when I say third party, let us discuss a little bit about um, your business associates. I would say, you might be outsourcing some of your jobs to other MSMEs, or you might be getting raw materials from some other suppliers. In that sense, you are also dealing with a lot of other business associates. Now,
Yes, we do.
when you are dealing with these business associates, is there a conscious effort on your part as a company to ensure that these people are also carrying out responsible business? For example, and I don't know, I love to quote my personal experiences here. I used to work for a German entity in India, and I was heading the company here. And we used to export natural stone, Indian sandstone, to Germany. And then, it was my duty, my moral duty. Nobody came and told me. I said, I'm not going to buy anything from quarries where they are employing child labor. And I used to sit down with my producers, my suppliers, and I used to talk to them about a lot of human rights issues. Are you taking good care of your employees? Are you taking good care of your environment? Are you taking good? So this way, I would, ensure that I'm at least doing a responsible and ethical business. What is with your company when you're dealing with other business associates? Do you sit down with them? Do you have any kind of sessions with them whereby, you also explain certain aspects of human rights or of conducting responsible business when you're talking to your suppliers or to your, other business associates?
See, since being as German slash Dutch company, we in order to choose a supplier for a raw material, it takes time because they have to go through process of our purchase department, and then obviously we have also special position which we call SQE, which is supplier quality engineer. This person goes to the supplier to see how they work, and they don't pre-announce the visits. They just come and see it to basically as a surprise visit to see how they actually work, whether they compile with, whether they can compile with our process, whether they do have children in their, companies. So we do that, this visit. We do also kind of study before we even decide to associate with a supplier. Plus, we also make them sign a code of conduct that we don't work with anyone who would engage children into their labor and who would also, be corruptive. So there is anti-corruption clause, and there is also no children policy in that code of conduct, which every supplier has to sign before they even start to work with us, right? And having said that, even if they sign, we still would do random visits afterwards to see whether it's actually true what they're saying it is. So because for us, it's very important to know that not only our employees and the company, but also third parties, as you rightly said, try or basically follow the compliances or processes which we are happy or which we want to follow. So this is very important topic for us, and we do also supplier evaluation every 3 months and see how it develops and changes and everything else. Yeah.
Sorry, wonderful. Yes, even I think, we used to have unannounced, we used to have unannounced
Yeah.
inspection visits from our auditors to these suppliers, and that's something that I think is a part of a good practice. Simona, I know this is going to be a bit harsh because in today's times, one cannot escape a conversation without bringing in the topic of COVID. And I'm going to talk to you about a little bit about the COVID situation. And, COVID situation has impacted all businesses. Now,
Yeah.
in the post-COVID situation, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people are trying to, uh, you know, get onto their feet. A lot of businesses are trying to stand up again, and it's pretty difficult. Even the COVID fear in India continues. Do you think that the COVID has impacted your business and your business responsibility vis-a-vis your workers, suppliers, and in general towards the society, and how you would view this? And let me just add a corollary that people are talking about a permanent change on how businesses will be conducted post-COVID. I don't know. I can't foresee that. But I would like to have your views that how the business priorities post-COVID will change, and should there be a policy framework defined to ensure responsible conduct of business, at least to protect businesses from such a loss, from employees from not getting salaries, from so many things that have been that have actually just collapsed due to COVID, and people's lives have been in danger. What are your views on this?
This is very tricky question, and also, well, it has affected everyone, every individual, everywhere in the world. So no one could escape that and be happy without any issues. It is, I think it is a great lesson for everyone, or for each company, to also understand that we need to digitalize our business more. We need to do more online. We need to actually create more policies of how to work, right? Or work from home maybe, or try to avoid to go to company every day, or be reliable on things which in India, Indian bureaucracy, you have to submit so many forms and everything in paper form. And I think this pandemic has taught India also how to do things online, and not only everything in the paper form, right? So there is a great example of when you have to submit documents at the bank to just process payments, and certain banks in India until today, they will still not accept anything online, right? So I think there is a great, or we should all focus more on digitalization and do our business as much as possible online, to reduce the contact of people. But having said that, it is difficult, because in sales, for instance, you need to visit your customers, you need to pitch them, you need to approach them, you need to study your customer, you need to have this impression of meeting, of, it's just not easy to do it via email or online, or even a phone call. I mean, it is there if you know the customer.
Hello, Simone, are you there? I think I lost you. Some technical glitch? Or is it with me? Simona, are you there? I think there was a technical issue with Simona.
I'm back. I think I'm back. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Wonderful.
Somehow my Wi-Fi got disconnected. So, yeah.
Let's finish.
So, yeah. So it is. We try to also do more things online. We try to have people working from home, and try to avoid the contact as much as possible, explain also what is social distancing and everything else. And I think this what has happened suddenly on all of us has taught us for the future what to do and what not to do in order to avoid this kind of disaster in all companies, which has happened from one day to another, because we didn't know how to deal with the situation. And I think now we are better prepared because we have learned from it what we have done wrong, what we could have done better, and what we will do better next time in case something similar would happen. And I hope nothing similar will ever happen. But yeah, we have tried to do it better. And to your other question, how it will be post-COVID, I do not believe it will come back to the business as it was before. I think people are different. People understood or see things differently now. They try to be maybe more careful. And I think it will impact business because many business people also lost their jobs. So I do not believe that the mentality will go again back to normal. Maybe at some companies and industries, it will be more aggressive because people believe now is the time to actually start to do business again. Now is the time to pitch new customers because the life is going slowly back and we don't know for how long. So now is the time. So I think people will be a little bit more aggressive in terms of sales. But I somehow don't believe it will go back again to normal as it was before, the same normal. That will be normal, but it will be different normal as it was before. At least my opinion on that.
Thank you, Simona. Thank you. I mean, this was a very short, good conversation with you, and taking the cue from you that we're going to have a new normal where businesses are going to be far more aggressive in future. Let's see what comes out. But thank you so much from my side for being such a wonderful participant to our discussion. Thank you, Simona. Back to Shreya, please.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Shreya, your call.
Yes, thank you so much, Subodh and Simona, for such valuable insights and sharing both of your experiences. Like Simona said, we are definitely heading towards a different normal. Let's see how that works out for businesses, especially, and all of us also. And to take forward this discussion, I would just want everyone to know that we have a high plenary planned for 29th October from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. And with this plenary, we hope that there will be, there will be throwing some light on perspectives from a variety of stakeholders across society, and to sort of talk about what entails responsible business conduct and practices. And with that, I think we close today's session. Once again, thank you, Subodh, and thank you, Simona, for taking out the time to sort of engage with us today. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. I think we're good. So I think